What time is it?
I'm not going to say fight o'clock. I'm finally watching The Last Dance, so I'm going to say game time.
Yes. It's The Last Dance not amazing?
I'm in the 4th episode. I'm loving it. I'm loving it. You know what? I like Michael Jordan more now than I did.
Everybody said that.
I just like this version of Michael Jordan.
Everybody said the same thing. By around about episode 8, though, I started to feel a little bit different. But yeah, but still, everybody said that. Everybody said the same thing. I like him a little bit more now. But yeah, because it's not this I'm trying to be perfect in front of you all the time.
This goes back to our conversation and, where we got, into it about Floyd, and this retrospective Mike is kind of cool.
Yeah, but I would argue, just from what I see from Mike, he's still only showing you a little bit of what he wants to show you.
Right.
So
probably
you ain't getting all the dirt. You ain't getting all the dirt. So let's go into this is Ask the Fight, guys. So we got a question, and it comes from Maya Pugh.
Okay.
And she says, Brian, who are the top 5 female MMA fighters of all time? Well, that is an awesome question. And I am prepared for you, Miss Pugh. And I'm going to, I even set up a countdown for you. Set up a countdown for you. So I'm going to go from 5 to 1. And I know I'm going to get some flack for this. So I already got my boy draws on. Okay. They're pulled up above my navel. You understand me? Right here. You see, you can't see where I'm putting this right here above my navel. Anyway, let's go into number 5. Joanna Jędrzejczyk, former UFC strawweight champion. She is still, in my opinion, the greatest strawweight champion of all time, even though she did lose to Rose Namajunas twice. Second fight was kind of shaky. She also wore one of the nastiest hematomas I've ever seen in the history of combat sports.
Yeah.
I mean,
it was bad.
If you know Hasim Rahman's hematoma.
Oh, that was nothing. That was a grapefruit. Hers was the whole head.
Yes, she had 2 of them.
She had another forehead.
She looked like John.
She looked like a prosthetic, like an alien.
Like John Hurt in Elephant Man.
Yeah.
That's exactly what she looked like. It was insane. But she still is number 5. Number 4, and here's where the hate comes. Here's where it comes. Number 4 is Ronda Rousey.
Why the hate? People think she's overrated?
Most people will say she's probably should be higher than this. Most people say she should be number 1.
What?
Oh yeah, a lot of people. Oh, not number 1.
I was gonna
number 2.
Brian,
at least number 2.
I was gonna argue she shouldn't be in the top 5.
I won't say that.
No, but what I'm saying is I thought what you meant was that people would argue she shouldn't be in the top 5.
Well, no, I don't know if anybody would argue that, to say she shouldn't be in the top 5. I think that's a little crazy. But I can imagine, because of her stardom and what she accomplished for the sport and what she meant, because put it like this, everybody that's on this list, just about, with the exception of one person, wouldn't even exist in this sport without Ronda. So
why do you say that?
Because Ronda made women's mixed martial arts a thing. Okay. And without her, all of these other people that are thriving, she created this lane.
Right. So you're saying the platform where a women's fight could be the main event and sell out a venue and do a pay-per-view.
There wouldn't have even been a female UFC division without Ronda. Dana started it because of Ronda.
Okay.
So they could have fought Strikeforce, which is where they were fighting before. Right. And some of the other smaller promotions. But to step up to the major leagues, Ronda paved that way, and without her, they wouldn't exist. And so I give her absolute due for that. But I'm talking about just as a fighter. As a fighter, Ronda has a plethora, had a good amount of holes in her game. But I interviewed her once, and I said this, and I don't think she liked this this comparison. But I said, in a lot of ways, you're like the Hoist Gracie of women's mixed martial arts. And she says, how do you mean? I said, because you're so far ahead of your time that by the time the rest of the people catch up with you, it'll be kind of like you're almost done anyway, and you already have accomplished everything you're going to accomplish. And it actually turned out to be that's exactly what it was.
Right. Was she offended?
She wasn't really offended, but she felt like comparing herself to Fedor Emelianenko was more appropriate, which I thought was completely not
right
on point, but it is what it is.
Well, before you go number 3, I'm actually watching her documentary now. Have you seen that?
Ronda's?
Yeah.
No, I haven't.
Check it out. It's good.
It probably is.
Sorry.
But yes, but Ronda, from a stand-up, as her stand-up game, rudimentary, completely. No head movement.
Right.
Very little speed.
Right.
Just not good,
Right.
But the grapple game was so far ahead of everybody else because most of the ladies weren't as trained in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. They weren't. It was just like Royce Gracie. When Royce Gracie was dominating, he was dominating because his ground game was so far ahead of everyone else's. And when that started to catch up, then it changed and the dominance wasn't quite the same. So that's why she's number 4. Number 3, to me, is, in my opinion, the most underrated fighter in mixed martial arts, and that is Valentina Shevchenko. Valentina Shevchenko is a top 2 or 3 fighter in the world, regardless of gender, in my opinion, right now. She literally has no weaknesses. She just doesn't. There is nothing she doesn't do well, and she doesn't get or move the units the way some of the other people do, especially some of the guys. But if Valentina Shevchenko was a man, she'd be Fedor Emelianenko. And she is literally that nasty. And so she is number 3. Number 2, because we're talking about all time, is Chris Cyborg. I ain't going to keep this picture up because the deformation that she created on Holly Holm's face is tough for me to watch. But Chris Cyborg is, I firmly believe that has she ever gotten the opportunity to fight Ronda Rousey, she just smashes her. She smashes her. I think the only person that she just doesn't definitively beat is the person that is number 1 on this list,
of course,
which is pretty easy.
Yes.
And it is the Lioness, Amanda Nunes. She has beaten everybody there is to beat. I mean, who else in any sport, especially an individual sport like this, can say that everybody who is considered a great in this sport, I've already beaten?
Right.
Everybody. Ronda, Cyborg, Valentina Shevchenko twice.
That's a stellar list, Brian.
She's beaten everybody. Yeah. She is the greatest female mixed martial artist of all time. She's one of the
I was saying your list. Your list. Your answer.
I thought you was talking about Amanda's list.
Oh, hers too. I mean,
yes. I mean,
she is the GOAT, right?
She is her status as the GOAT is the most undisputed.
What's her record?
I don't know what her record is. I have to look up what I wonder, what I noticed. MMA records.
I'm going somewhere with this for the
MMA records are so not focused on as much.
Using this for some ammo in my
I know what you're
championship round, baby.
I know where you're gonna go. 19-4. She's
okay. She's the GOAT. 19-4.
She is the GOAT.
Okay. Who beat her?
The last time she lost was Kat Zingano, and that was in September 2014.
And she's not even on your list.
She's not on my list. She could have been.
Okay, that's all I needed. Thank you.
Injuries kept her off.
Okay.
And her husband committed suicide, which totally threw everything off on top of the injuries. So Kat Zingano and Ronda Rousey were on this collision course. They finally fought. Kat Zingano made a horrible error in the first 15 seconds of the fight, got tapped out. Yeah. Then she tore her knee up, and that was pretty much it. Yeah. It was downhill from there. But yeah.
Okay. That was a good list, man. That was actually I think Maya's going to be very happy with that answer. I hope she's tuned in right now.
I hope she is as well.
Now, did you answer her in her comment?
I didn't, because I feel like that's kind of
tell her
point.
Just say, hey, you better be watching.
You better be watching. You better be watching. You better be watching.
Excellent question.